professor here. He has extensive experience in higher education, research, and consulting. He was previously at IIT Bombay, where he was the head of Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, and was also a founding member of the Ashank Desai Center of Policy Studies, as well as the Center for Climate Studies. So with that brief intro, I'll turn it over to you, Partha and Sampurna, and you can share your screen.
Thank you, Paritosh. So I'll just quickly, we have a presentation, so I'll just quickly share my screen and yes, Partha, over to you.
Yeah, firstly, thanks to Paritosh and Bhakti, especially for inviting us to have a conversation with you all. And many thanks to the Outreach Collective. We were discussing earlier about um, the importance of having these kinds of conversations with smaller groups, because as some of you were mentioning earlier, uh, the landscape for liberal arts education in India is changing. Uh, but we are not yet talking about how important liberal arts as a stream of education is for a country like India at this stage. So we have had a number of high quality private liberal arts universities coming up. It's been spreading to other existing universities. A lot of engineering colleges have been converting themselves into full-fledged universities. And we've had liberal arts degrees being offered by existing public sector universities, both in at the state and central level as well. But what's important, and this is something that we at Nayanta keep saying often, and it's something that we also pride ourselves on, is that we want to be a listening university. We want to learn from you all. So Paritosh introduced us, and we do have certain kinds of experience, but we don't have the kind of experience, expertise, and knowledge that you all have. Right? And because we are going to be working with a lot of young students, we very much value what you bring to the table in terms of enhancing our understanding of not just the outreach and admissions process, but what it takes to expand access to liberal arts education, not for a small cohort of those who can afford it, but for the entire generation of young people who are going to be aspiring for higher education in the years to come. So, with that introduction, let me quickly get into a very brief outline of why Nayanta and why now. So, Nayanta is maybe we should call it an experiment. It's an experiment that has been 8 years in the making. Right? So, a group of industrialists from the CII, including former chairpersons of CII, and Sampurna will tell you a little later who these people are. They started talking about this way back in 2017, and they've been meeting every month from 2019 onwards to set up Nayanta University. And the idea was that India has a fairly significant number of world class institutions in engineering, in management, some extent in medicine as well. But when it comes to multidisciplinary universities uh, across science, social science, humanities, and the arts, as yet we have not yet produced high quality institutions which are very well known both for teaching as well as for research. Right? And and at this particular juncture in history, both for the country and globally, there are critical challenges that we are all facing. Right? It's climate change, the issues of democracy, issues of inequality, sustainability, providing good quality access to education, but also healthcare for all, energy issues, water, all of these. So these group of people who came together felt that we need to produce people who will not just get into good high paying jobs, but who will become leaders for India. It doesn't mean that they will necessarily be based in India, may go to study abroad, but they will be interested in problems that are very critical for India. And when they say that, or when we say that we want to produce leaders for India, we have a particular emphasis on issues of development, on issues of policy, on issues of sustainability, and so on. And that's one of the reasons I'm here at Nayanta, because they were looking for people like me, and people who are being recruited all have an interest, a shared interest in ideas of development, of equity, sustainability, of policy, and so on. And our shared understanding, the founders and the leadership of Nayanta, about policy is that policy is not something that can be left only to the government. It is not something that can only be left to the social sector or NGOs. There is a need to integrate the efforts of government, civil society, and industry, but more importantly, to reimagine policy itself, not in terms of a top down approach of how government designs and then implements it, but in terms of what it takes to design effective policies, keeping in mind the cultural, social, geographical context of a country like India. Right? So, as when we talk about the programs, I'll come to that. We plan to mainstream these issues of sustainability, of policy, of development across the curriculum, irrespective of what a student chooses to do at Nayanta. And that's the idea of liberal arts that animates us. It's not simply about identifying courses in social sciences, arts, humanities, and sciences and bringing them together. There's a larger vision of how we curate these courses, not just to offer flexibility to students, but in terms of creating a certain kind of leaders for the country who will develop an ability to not just solve problems, but also to question. So we've been talking to a lot of industry partners for internships and placements. And one of the things we've been telling them is that you can come on board only if you allow our students to question the way in which you function. It could be questions about inequality, it could be questions about sustainability in your own organization, right? If you're willing to listen to questions from our students, then we are willing to work with you, right? That's where we are coming from. And so,
Thank you.
yeah. So I'll just stop here and hand it over to Sampurna before I come back a little later.
Thank you, Partha. So, just one thing I wanted to mention, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see you guys right now. So I'll come to the chat, after we are done with the presentation. Till then, Paritosh will take note of all of the questions if you have any. So, as Partha mentioned, our founders sort of came together over 9 years to build this school. And some of our founders include the likes of, Chris Gopal Krishnan, who's the co-founder of Infosys and the chairperson of Axela Ventures, Dr. Naushad Forbes, who's not only the co-chairperson of Forbes Marshall, but is going to be, the chancellor of Nayanta as well, and he's very, very involved in our day-to-day. There's Ms. Meher Padamji, there's Nadir Godrej of Godrej Industries, there's Satish Reddy of Dr. Reddy's Lab, and as you can see, this is a very good mix of very credible people who've come together with this vision to sort of bring this university to India and have world class education come out of India, so that students can experience the quality of education in art sciences with an intersection of technology right here in India, and then they can do wonders for the world and the country. So, with that, it brings me to the university's leadership, right? So I talked about Dr. Naushad Forbes. He's not only been an industrialist in terms of being the co-chairperson of Forbes Marshall Group, but what a lot of people may not know is that he's been an academician as well himself. He did his he pursued his higher education in Stanford in US, and then taught there for 17 years. So he's been a professor at Stanford for 17 years, and now he's back, and he has a true vision of building this school, and he's really, really involved in building Nayanta and bringing it to life this year. And then we have our interim VC and professor, Dr. Ranjan Banerjee, who was the erstwhile dean of SPJ and IMR the School of Business in Mumbai. He was the dean when they were able to break into the FT rankings of top 5 B schools in India for the Masters in Management program. And then he was the founding dean of the BIT School of Management before taking on the role of the interim VC at Nayanta, and he will obviously be teaching here at Nayanta as well. You've already met Partha. He's dean and professor, and he's also going to be, teaching here. And he's a dean of academics, and and we've already introduced him, so you kind of know him a little bit from his IIT Bombay days and how he set up the HSS there, as well as the School of Public Policy. And then, of course, we have Miss Aniha Brar, who's the Dean of Students and Undergraduate Program. And she was in the founding team of Ashoka when they started the Young India Fellowship. She was my dean at the Young India Fellowship when I was there. And later she took on a broader role at the VC's office at Ashoka University. And so she's kind of seen this over more than 10 years at Ashoka, and now she's here. And something that I can vouch for as having been a student when she was the dean is that she's very, very student centric. And something that we can all vouch for is that student centricity is sort of at the heart of the leadership here at Nayanta. And that's something that you will see even on our website when we talk about the fact that the students are the focus. And then there is, what is it that makes us unique? And as I spoke of, student centricity, care is extremely important to us. So we are talking about care in the sense that we not only care about our students by ensuring that they have the right kind of facilities to learn and grow in the 4 years that they're here with us, but also in terms of something called the personal development program, which we'll touch upon a little later, where we work with each student to build their journey, and who are they, and how can they, what are their aspirations, and what are the ways in which they can get to their chosen paths in life. And that is something that will run through the 4 years, and that's our commitment to care, by ensuring that they not only are on track for the 4 years and also are equipped with the tools to pivot, because every student will have nowadays more than 3 careers in their lifetimes. And so it's extremely important for them, whenever they come at a crossroads, say 10-15 years down the line, they should be able to have the tools to be able to pivot very comfortably when the time comes. And that only happens when you are kind of curious as an individual, and you're open to learning, and you're open to inquiry and communication. And that's something that we are looking for in each student, but also we are quite invested in ensuring that we build it in, we build in a component of curiosity through the program, and ensure that that sense of inquiry and open communication remains with every student, and it becomes something that makes them unique and different. And with care and curiosity, we are hopeful that it will translate into confidence, and our students will come out as very confident individuals, not only in the workplace but also in the way they communicate their thoughts and to the world, and with everyone else. And of course, that brings us to the fact that careers is an essential part of the program, and we'll tell you how with the built-in immersions and internships. So it's a very, very real world focused program that ensures that real world integration is at the heart of all of it, as we are trying to be a student centric experience right here at Nayanta. With that, I will pass on to Partha again to talk about the differentiators at Nayanta, and then the academic program here.
Mm. Yeah, thanks, Sampurna. Um, so when we say that we want to build leaders for India, and we want to have a real world focus, uh, we are really talking about knowledge, skills, and capabilities that need to be built in the students. And we are saying that to build all of these, it's not just about curriculum and pedagogy. It's also about, as Purna said, enhancing, creating a culture of care, enhancing the ability to learn, um, developing curiosity. And we are saying we don't want to just assess students in terms of what are their outcomes in terms of marks or grades, but how well have they learned to learn by themselves. Creating the hunger to learn, the curiosity, developing the capacity to be lifelong learners is what we are really interested in. Right? And so when we say that students will be career ready through care, curiosity, confidence, and careers, the question arises as to how we are going to do this. The first is that care will be through inculcating a personalized journey for every individual. We are saying we would like every student to sort themselves out, especially as you all know in India, students are forced to make a choice of subjects at the age of 15 when they are still not aware of the different kinds of opportunities, different kinds of career pathways, and subjects of choice that are available in the world around them. And so the first 1 year will be a foundation program where students are exposed to subjects across sciences, social sciences, humanities, arts. But we also plan to have modules in design thinking and systems thinking, including prototyping. And then there are also modules uh, in cultural literacy and technical literacy, because we are saying technology is not just a vertical, it's a horizontal. Everybody has to have an awareness of the ethical implications of making different technological choices, but also the potential of choosing different kinds of technologies, going beyond just computer science algorithms or coding. Right? So we are saying that personalized journey will involve providing mentoring. Every member of the academic leadership and staff will know every single student and work with them to make better choices. Right? And that will also be supplemented through personal development programs where some of our mentor faculty and our own internal faculty will be involved in these as well. Can we just go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
So the other thing is the internships. We know that a lot of universities and colleges have internships programs, but we are trying to curate this in a very different way. We are saying every student will do a 1 month immersion in their second year, one in the social sector, one in the government sector, and one in the corporate sector. And these will be immersions where there is supervision by faculty, and there is a faculty who is providing them exposure to understanding these sectors beyond just a particular organization. What does a government actually do? What does an industry do? What are the key theoretical conceptual aspects that animate the functioning of these different kinds of organizations? What are the ideologies? What is the context in which they're working, right? And then they will choose one of these sectors for a 5 month internship, which they will do between the third and the fourth years, which will also be linked to their majors and or minors. And in addition, it will be linked for some of the students at least to a capstone project. Right? And we've already tied up with a number of organizations across these three sectors for internships. Another key differentiator for Nayanta is a very strong focus on affirmative action, which is one of the reasons I was attracted to taking up this position here. So, up to 50% of the students will come from marginalized or disadvantaged backgrounds. We are working with over 50 organizations all the way from Kashmir to Karnataka and Kerala, where these organizations are working with children from these backgrounds or working with government schools to enhance the potential and performance of these students, either through providing support for libraries, laboratories, plugging gaps in communication, writing, mathematics, and so on. And we have budgeted for scholarships of different kinds for these students. This creates a need for a particular culture of care that Sampurna was talking about. So you can't just bring in students from different backgrounds and expect them to perform well. So we are focusing on pedagogy, on training faculty, on integration programs, which will ensure that students from different backgrounds are able to perform well. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is that we are saying this need blind merit based admissions policy is not just an admission strategy, And that's why Paritosh made it very clear that Sampurna's role is admissions and not so much marketing, right? Because we are saying that talent and potential is spread evenly across all social groups. And if we have to generate a new generation of leaders, we have to find potential among all social groups in India. That's a key um, uh, point of emphasis for us. And finally, uh, this is of course much more important for the incoming batch. We are saying that this batch will be the founding class with a unique opportunity to craft a legacy for the university. Move to the next slide. So I already spoke about the foundation program, and then the majors. I just wanted to be very briefly mention this point so that we can have more time for discussion. Uh, we are starting in an interim campus in Bavdhan in Pune. It's an existing institution which we've taken over. Absolutely beautiful green campus. You should come and visit us somewhere. We'll be very happy to host you. We are starting with computer science, maths, and then a whole host of social science and humanities subjects. So there are subjects where you're offering majors, and then we have minors. Students can take a combination of majors and minors or do a double major. Not only are we offering inherently interdisciplinary options like public policy, science, technology, and society, media studies, or sustainability, we're also providing flexibility for students to curate their own combinations of majors and minors. The idea is that any problem, any critical problem that needs resolution cannot be solved by working in silos. And so we are saying that an introduction to multiple disciplines, multiple perspectives, multiple lenses through the foundation course will lead to a different way in which students engage with each of these subjects and learn critical skills. It's not just the subject content or domain that they learn critical skills from each of these subjects, which they will then apply to different problem solving. And here I'll just mention 2 points and then we can move ahead. One is we at the end of the foundation program, we will have a week-long workshop on what we call as global challenges. It could be climate change, it could be energy, it could be water, it could be education or healthcare, where there will be experts from different subject domains who will come and work with the students on a particular grand challenge problem, and then talk about how each discipline or interdisciplinary area can contribute to a better understanding and resolution of the problem. And at the end of the 4-year program, they will work on a capstone project, which again revisits what they have learned in the foundation program and across these different subjects. This is just a bunch of pre-curated combinations that we have put in here. But as I said earlier, students are absolutely free to make up their own combinations. And we do plan to work with faculty, uh, uh, and every faculty in Nayanta will be able to teach across at least 2 different disciplines. And there are some courses which will be taught by 2 faculty. That shows how serious we are about interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity. Uh, Sampurna, you want to take over from here?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for the deep dive into the course structure and curriculum, Partha. So one of the, like Partha said, that we will have a diverse set of faculty members who can kind of cross cut across various subjects. This is just a glimpse into some of the visiting faculty that we have, and of course, Dr. Naushad Ranjan and Dr. Partha are our full time faculty here. As we are in the process of recruiting some of our full time faculty, we have a stellar group of people who will be teaching our students at Nayanta. So, be it Dr. Om Narsiman, who teaches at the London School of Economics, or Dr. A.K. Shiv Kumar, who teaches at the Harvard Kennedy School, ISB, and Ashoka, and Bitsom, Dr. Leena Chatterjee, who's been a veteran faculty at IIM Calcutta and then at Bitsom, and Dr. Ajay Shah, to Dr. A.F. Matthews. So the list goes on, and it's for you to see. We have, and a lot of and something that I would want to sort of highlight here is that a lot of these faculty, whenever they teach in India, also typically teach postgraduate classes, right? So this is going to be an extremely interesting experience for our students at Nayanta, who kind of get to walk into these fascinating classrooms at the undergraduate level, right? So, I mean, I have had the privilege of studying under some of them at Ashoka, and it's just an absolutely mind blowing experience. And I know a lot of our students in the past have, in my past organizations, have also kind of had their minds blown when they've been in classrooms with these people. And it's going to be like a genuinely great learning experience right here in India. When we say we're bringing world class education, we truly mean it. And this is something that's kind of, and this list will only grow. And some of these people will also be mentoring our in-house faculty, right, Partha? So
Yes.
that is also something that is unique about Nayanta, where we are constantly, the whole point on care and curiosity is not just for the students but also the academic system that we build here, and the care for our in-house faculty as well, and helping them grow with Nayanta in the journey. This is some of the partners that Partha spoke of. As you can see, we have good representation from all sectors across government, corporate, and social. And this list is only going to grow as we speak. So this is just a glimpse into the people that have already partnered with us and have agreed to give internships and immersion opportunities to
Just if we
our
can just mention
students.
one point here.
Yes.
I had started by saying that we a group of industries from the CII Confederation of Industry came together to start this university. So we have a formal MOU with CII, uh, which is going to be leveraged for admissions and outreach, for teaching, for internships, for research projects, and so on. So that there is a formal commitment from the Director General and from all the regional councils of CII to work with Nayanta University.
Yes. So that's kind of, something that's very exciting and will truly benefit all our students that come in to the program. And it's unique that, it's a liberal arts and sciences program. It's a multidisciplinary university where there's a very strong industry connect, and we're giving the students, this whole opportunity to really learn and grow at the workplace also, while they are students. So giving them that cushion of experimenting, what's and dabbling in various things at the workplace, while being while they're still in the comfort zone of being a student, because then they are a little bit more confident once they start their first jobs, and and start making an impact there. So, as Partha mentioned, our campus for now is the CDSA campus in Bavdhan in Pune, and it's extremely green, it's extremely beautiful, and we have this was built by the famous architect Christopher Benninger in the 1980s, and we have now, this is our home now, and we've kind of upgraded it to all of the tech facilities that are required for the 21st century classroom. And so we can't wait to have our students here soon. That it's a residential program, as we had mentioned in the very beginning. So our student residences are in Wakar, which is not very far from campus, and we are going to provide buses for the shuttle services between for students between campus and residences. The residences are on triple sharing rooms, 300 square foot, very nicely done. There's going to be only about 16 rooms per floor, and separate floors for girls and boys with security and access control as well. There's going to be infirmary facilities in both the campus as well as the hostels. There's going to be a reading room, a dining hall, in the hostels, as well as a library and a dining hall in our campus as well. So, and of course, recreational facilities, pantry facilities on each floor, all of that will be kind of built in so that the students are extremely comfortable, and they can just focus on the studies, the group work, and use this time, as they spend this time away from home, to truly grow and learn, and kind of invest in their education, and not worry about anything else, truly. And a little bit about our admissions. So who can apply? Anyone that has appeared for grade 12 in the current year, or has already completed their grade 12, and are eligible to apply, and we accept all Indian and international boards. It's a very simple 3-step admission process, and financial aid is the fourth step. So it's an online application, so you can, if you register on our website, you will get a link to start your application in your email, and you just have to kind of fill it up. It's your basic details. The students have to fill up their basic details, the class 10 scores. If they have their class 12 scores already, then they can put that in, and extracurricular activities, and a personal statement. We do have what we call like 5 short essays and a long essay, but they are genuinely, just 200-300 words long, not too long. And it's basically a one-way conversation that they can have with the reviewer and the interviewer, so that once they get to that stage, we can inquire a little bit more on that and get to know them a bit better. One unique thing is that we believe that a lot of people can express about themselves a lot better in a language of their choice. So of course the medium of instruction is English, and the rest of the form is in English, but if there is any part of an essay that they feel like they will communicate better and express themselves better in Hindi or Marathi, then they are free to do that. And we do have reviewers and interviewers who can understand that and kind of converse with them a little bit deeper. And once they submit the application, and they pass a very basic criteria, then they are invited to the Nayanta aptitude test, which is largely numerical ability, verbal ability, attention to detail, and some reasoning ability. There is a small element of a psychometric test, which is very quick and easy, where we genuinely want to understand like the resilience or the curiosity quotient of a student. And it's a 1 hour 20 minutes test. There's a mock test link on the website also, for if someone wants to get a flavor of what it is going to be like. And then followed by the personal interview, which is something that is two panelists and the student. It's all online. By the way, this whole thing is online. A process from the aptitude test to the interview, everything is from the comfort of their homes. And the personal interview again is a short sort of 20 to 30 minute. We are not asking any GK questions or math questions or anything like that. It's truly the conversation starters are the essays, and then we let the student drive the conversation and tell us more about themselves and what they want to do and why. And that's pretty much it. And after that, they get an admission decision, which is either they are offered, or waitlisted, or they may not make it. So those are the three outcomes. And finally, for those who may require financial aid, we have a process that only begins after the admissions offers are made. So if one is offered and they require any assistance in terms of financials, then they can let us know, and then the finate process then begins, and it's completely sort of based on the financial need of the student. So the admissions is on merit, and then finite is on need. That's how it sort of works. A little bit on the timelines. We did open our application sometime in April. It had begun. We completed round 1 in May, and people can still apply throughout June. That's something that is open. And as I said, you can register. One can register on our website through the register button, and then go into their email to start the application. And yeah, so decisions etc will sort of then follow soon, with with respect to the aptitude test, the interview windows, etc. So June for round 1, and around July for round 2 is when we are looking at decisions, and academic session begins towards the end of August for the incoming class. And tuition fees is about 10 lakhs per annum, and the residence fees is about 1 lakh 80. So, but mind you, this is paid in 3 installments. So at the beginning of the year, they have to pay the residential fee and a part of the tuition fee, in addition to a cautionary deposit of 50,000 rupees, which is refundable at the end of the 4 years. And then at the beginning of term 2 and term 3, they have to pay 3 lakh each, which is a component of the total tuition fees. So it's spread out over time, and it's going to be 3 installments year on year, with the residential fees paid upfront for each year and the tuition fees divided across the 3 terms. And
But
here,
there's financial aid, as we mentioned.
sorry.
Maybe you can just mention about the financial aid that we have.
Yes, so I did mention about the FinAid here.
Mm.
When we touched upon. So there are, there's full financial aid, and then there's also partial financial aid. So, students who are, eligible after the FinAid process, the students are eligible for 100% scholarship, then it's fully taken care of. And then there's, so basically, as Partha mentioned, that we will, it's all based on need, right? The FinAid process. So largely someone that truly fully needs it will get full financial aid, and they don't have to take worry about any of this. But the rest of them might qualify for partial aid, and only then, once the decision is there, then they have to kind of figure out the payment for rest. We are also in talks with banks, public sector banks as well as private sector banks, and we'll have that information on the website soon enough, around the time that we declare offers. Is that we will have tie-ups with banks for easy processing of loans for the students as well, if that's something that they're looking for. And this is some of the ways that you can contact us. You can write to us, you can call us, you can always visit our website, you can follow us on our socials. You'll find all the links in the footer on the website. And you can start your application by directly going on this link, admissions.nayanta.org. The students can, and or you can just register on the website, and then you'll get the link to start the application in your inbox. So we are now open to take any of your questions. I will unshare my screen now.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Sampurna and Partha. That was really wonderful. Just one thing that I want to mention is that also there's no application fee. So that should not come in the way of you applying at all. I'm just going to ask you some questions now based on what we're getting in the chat. So what is the total cohort size? Sampurna, would you like?
Yes. So the total cohort size we're looking for is a maximum of 100. So we're looking at up to 100 very, very quality students, high quality students for this year. And when we say high quality, we mean diverse dimensions of excellence. We are not saying you have to be necessarily, extremely academic bright and unidimensional in the way you are. We're looking at multidimensional people. If students have experienced any situations where they have had to kind of fight a lot of odds and still come through, that's also something that we are looking at. We're looking at curious individuals, and who are kind of learners, and are keen to kind of are open to various, it's multidisciplinary. So someone that has the openness to come into a program and then be surprised by it also, and maybe decide on where they want to go from there.
Great. So, Puna, could you also say a little bit about the criteria for financial aid and a little bit more on the aptitude test in terms of the content of it?
Yeah, so the aptitude test I'll take first. It is, there's very few questions in it, actually. It's about an hour, and every section is timed. And so you will have, they have the option of kind of taking whichever section they want to, but there's basic verbal ability, there is numerical ability, and then there is reasoning ability, and there's something called observational skills, which is kind of like regular attention to detail, where it could say black in a triangle box, and it could be red in color, and then they might have to say that, oh, what is the color written inside the box. So it's just like paying a little bit of attention, and quick and easy kind of answers. So we are just trying to see their basic verbal and numerical ability. It is a multidisciplinary program, and this test, by the way, is just a pass-fail test, right? So it's not like the marks they get on this test then has a scoring mechanism for the composite admission score that each individual gets. It's nothing like that. So we are just trying to test their basic ability and their ability to be able to grab, be able to cope with the academic rigor of the Nayanta curriculum, and hence it just helps us do that basic check. Mind you, we want to be inclusive, and so we are not, taking the SAT or anything. If someone has the SAT, they're free to mention that in their application form, but it's not something that we're making as a criteria. Everyone is welcome to apply, and hence, the test just helps us ensure that they have the bare minimum ability. When it comes to FINAID, there will be a whole process, a separate form, that so once somebody gets an admission offer, then they can indicate to us that they are looking for FINAID, and it will be just sort of an evaluation of their financials. And in this case, they are, most of them are minors, so it will be an evaluation of the personal finances of their parents. And once they go through that process, the committee will then decide on either, full aid or partial aid, and a number will be, given to them as to how much that they qualify for. So 50% is sort of the bare sort of a number that is associated with partial aid, and then full aid can go up to 80 to 100% of the entire fees.
Great. And just on the aptitude test, one thing that, might be a question on some people's mind is, can you study for it? The answer is kind of no. So it's not like the SAT or the ACT in that sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there any cutoffs or bars set for the eligibility of full financial aid? And yeah, if you could say something
Um,
about that.
Yes, so as Partha had mentioned, and Partha, you can supplement this, is that we've really done a lot of outreach into sort of the depths of the country. We've truly made sure that affirmative action is something that we truly believe in, and we've made sure to ourselves, go to, and Partha and Pankaj from our team have gone to NGOs from Jammu and Kashmir to Jharkhand to Maharashtra to Kerala, to everywhere, Madhya Pradesh, to spread the word. And what that basically means is that full aid, and so all anything that comprises of full aid typically will go to students with truly that come from backgrounds, financial backgrounds, where they will not be able to fund this on their own at all. And then partial aid is sort of open to middle income groups largely, and that is, again, it's an independent process of financial aid. We do not link admissions to FINAID, so admissions happens on merit separately. Each kid goes through their own journey and they get an offer, and fair and square, and then only after that does the FINAID process start. So to answer your question, so it's not very likely that someone will qualify for full financial aid if they are sort of urban and their parents are doing well enough in private sector organizations or government sector organizations, in the scheme of things that we have. But Partha, if you want to supplement that answer.
No, I think you've covered all the points. Just wanted to say we are aware, we're starting with a cohort of 100 students. Somebody was asking about that. And so we are starting on a small scale, and we would like to be confident of our ability to conduct an exam, carry out the admissions process in a way in which we are able to get the best students from around the country, and then roll out the financial aid process to the most deserving. Once we're confident of this, we will increase the numbers from the third year onwards to 200 and eventually to 500 and more. But the financial aid uh, is related to income slabs of the household, but we are also saying that, and then this covers, financial aid is not just, doesn't just cover the tuition fee, it also covers other costs, living expenses and so on. And we're saying, as Sampurna mentioned, we will tie up with banks and others, because there
Yeah.
are middle income groups, there are lower middle income groups who will require higher amounts of financial support, so that we will try our best in all possible ways to make sure that once a student is admitted, that student is enabled to take admission and then study.
Great. Thanks a lot, Partha. I'm just going to ask two questions which are kind of related to each other. One is, why is the aptitude test not enabled in all regional languages? And the other is that for students who have a problem in expressing themselves in English, will they be able to cope with classroom lectures?
Yeah.
So maybe you could
Maybe I
take the first part, Sampurna, and Partha, if you
yeah.
could talk a little
I'll
bit about
I'll
the
yeah,
personal
I'll take
development.
this first and then maybe Sampurna can come in.
Yeah.
Firstly, uh, the we are conducting so as part of the admissions process, which Sampurna explained. In the application form, we are asking them to write a few essays and then we carry out an interview. For both the essays and the interview, we are allowing students to write in languages other than English. As of now, because of our capacity issues, we are allowing students to speak and write in Hindi and Marathi in addition to English. And eventually, we hope to expand to other languages also, because we do not want to confound their ability to express themselves with their English language capability. Students may be able to express themselves much better in other languages, and eventually we'll have it. But the reason we are conducting the aptitude test in English is that it will be an English medium education. Students will need a basic level of English capability to understand the lectures and write exams and so on, projects, assignments. But we will have a continuous support for improving their English language communication. So we have a writing and communications program which has been well designed for the entire 4-year program. So every student, irrespective of their capability in the English language, will be provided different kinds of support so that at the end of 4 years, they are fluent in both writing and other forms of communication. Right? And that's a continuous set of activities with multiple faculty from the very first term to the last term.
Great.
And
Um,
another thing, just to add to that, is that, we've often seen this with a lot of talented students, is that written communication in English
Yes.
is, or reading is not a challenge. They are reading books just as a lot of the urban students are, or someone with a more privileged background are. They are very well equipped to write in the language. It's often the speaking that is a bit of a challenge, and they're either scared or they don't have enough people in their everyday life to speak it with, and which is why they are not free to converse in English, as well as a lot of us are. And that just means that the more they practice, and we've seen a lot of them also come to us and say that, hey, you know what, I want to do this interview in English. It might be a little bit broken, but the more I practice, the better I get at it. So that's very heartening to see, and that's basically the crux of it, is that the more we give them opportunities to collaborate and be able to communicate with each other, that they'll get sort of better at it. And of course, there's the support that Partha mentioned.
right. It shouldn't come in the way of you putting forward your values, which is really what we're
Yeah.
trying to assess in the interview.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so there's a two-part question here, which is a lovely question. So one is, what would be your ideal student profile for the foundation batch? Johnson, you asked that. Johnson, I wanted to just clarify from you. Do you mean like the ideal student, or do you mean the ideal makeup of the founding batch? So if you could clarify that in the chat. And then the second part, maybe we can take that first while you clarify it, is in 2040, what would two top alums of Nayanta be likely to be doing? So
Hmm.
not a straightforward question, but I would love you take
Yeah.
a
No,
stab.
no. Very fascinating questions, and thank you very much for asking these. And you know, the founders, the group of 10 to 15 who had these long conversations about Nayanta University, they told us this, that when they were having these conversations, one of the things they discussed was where the founding batch will be 30 years from now, because the founders are not going to be around anymore. They're already, most of them, in their 60s and 70s. And very interesting questions, ideas they came up with, not just people in industry, but some of them may be political leaders, some of them will be in government, some of them will be in society, some of them may be scientists. But that is where the idea of where they will be becomes very interesting, because the answer that we usually give out is that, of course, they will maybe scientists, they will maybe government officials, they may be industrialists, but we are saying these are people who will bring about a change in the environments in which they are working. Irrespective of which sector, which organization they are working, they will bring about a change in that environment. That is what we want these young people to do. Yeah. Sampurna, if you want to add, like that.
I know that I kind of fully agree. It's that, when they walk into a space, they should be able
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
bring about a certain energy
yeah,
that is unique, through the lens that they acquire,
yeah,
and the foundation that they have, the comfort of
yeah,
working while they are still a student, and having the flexibility to even fail at that internship a little bit, so
mm,
that they're far better prepared when they walk into their
yeah,
full-time jobs, or
yeah,
if they go
mm,
into a
yeah,
classroom,
mm,
for a master's or a PhD program later.
yeah,
Those four aspects of the Nayanta experience, the care, curiosity, confidence, and
yeah,
careers, is something that we
yeah,
feel like,
yeah,
a little amount of change in the room that they walk
mm,
into,
yeah,
and in personal and
mm,
professional spaces, is something that will slowly but surely,
yeah.
culminate into something bigger over time.
So I'll just quickly respond to that other question about the makeup of the first batch. So we are looking for a spark in the students, and some of them we can see the spark in terms of high academic performance, some of them in terms of extracurricular activities, some of them in sports. But there is a common set of qualities we are looking for, irrespective of their social class, ethnic, whatever background, and whichever school they have studied. One is, and these we are assessing both in the interview and in the application form through the essays. One is resilience, the second is curiosity, and the third is hunger to learn. So if they express them any of these qualities or more than one quality, we believe that these are markers of success for these students, and that essentially constitutes the makeup of the batch, that they reflect these qualities.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Partha. Could I just add one really quick thing on the 2040 question?
Hmm.
I think, like, of course, they will be, trying to make a change in whatever field they're in. They'll be trying
Yeah.
to develop India and anywhere in the world. But I think that they will also have a deep appreciation of two things. One is multiple disciplines, and that's why our focus on this interdisciplinary thing.
Mhm.
But the other thing is an appreciation for multiple sectors. And I think we should invent a word like intersectorality or something where they understand that you need to get the social, corporate, and public sector to work together to address
Yes.
issues. One question that's come up out here is about majors in the future, pure sciences and business programs. Partha, maybe you could take that.
Yes, yes. So, as I said earlier, we would have ideally liked to have started majors in the science subjects as well now, but we are constrained by the fact that we are starting in an interim campus while we are building out a permanent campus near Pune. We are acquiring land and building a permanent campus because science subjects will need high quality laboratories. And so from next year, that is 2026, we will start majors in physics, chemistry, and the biological sciences as well. We do have minors in innovation and in entrepreneurship. Uh, the reason we are not getting into BPA, management, or engineering is, as I said earlier, one, there are high quality institutions in these areas already. We also feel that many of the subjects that go into management or business, they are watered. This is something that our Vice Chancellor Ranjan Banerjee always likes to say, that these subjects incorporate watered down versions of theories and concepts from sociology, from economics, from psychology, and so on. We believe that students should first acquire a solid grounding in these different subjects before they get into management, business, and so on. And you can be good in finance, in marketing, in business, and so on, with qualifications in biology, in philosophy, in history, in mathematics, and so on. So we do not want to uh, say that you can be good in business or an industrialist or in a startup only if you have a grounding in those subjects. The analytical skills, the conceptual skills, the understanding of the real world from these other subjects are as important in enabling you to transition into careers in business, industry, and so on.
I think my internet just glitched for a second, but Partha, did you mention when we will get pure science programs?
2026,
Okay,
next year.
great.
Next year.
So we have a question on the internship opportunities and probable slash guaranteed career placement for students, given who we have as our partners. So
Yeah.
Sampurna, maybe.
Yes. So as you saw on the slide that we presented with the partners that we already have. A lot of them are organizations that our founders lead, and then there's more, and we are in the process of signing more of these MOUs. Internships for sure, immersions and internships for sure. Our students will be able to go into very structured projects in these organizations. We will eventually also build a professional career services team very soon, which that team will be working with our students to kind of groom them for any kind of full-time career opportunities, for the ones that are looking for placement outcomes right after their undergraduate program. And guaranteed is something that no school kind of truly talks about. Will we create opportunities for them to sort of interview, and enough opportunities that will come to campus with the help of our career services team, who will be professionals whose job will be to bring these organizations to campus for our students to then interview for roles that are on offer, for sure. And then beyond the point, it's on the students also to convert those opportunities. So two things we will do is that the team will work towards bringing in opportunities, as well as working with the students in ensuring that they are set up for success when they are interviewing for these organizations. And largely in a multidisciplinary school, not all students might even want full-time careers right after. Hence I talked about the ones that opt for that option, and will work with them because they might want to pursue higher education or go the more academic route.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So we've covered the questions that have been put in the chat. Um, would anyone like to ask any more questions? Or if you, at this point, I feel like even if you would like to unmute and say something, you're more than welcome. Partha, were you going to say something?
I just wanted to ask if I can pose a short question. Uh, uh, and because you have a lot of experience working with children and sending them off to universities, uh, do you have any advice or suggestions for Nayanta? The way
Yes.
in which we should do outreach, the way in which we should do admissions, how we should run our programs, your ideas about care, curiosity, confidence. We would like to hear from you.
Yes, Johnson. Yes.
Uh, I don't know much of an advice, but as I said, I come in a very different role. I've got into teaching after a lot of years sailing. And the reason for my question is uh, the students are more aware, the children are more aware that it's going to be such a disruptive world that however much we promise them the moon or everything, I
Mm,
mean, one of the backgrounds to my question was they themselves are having so much doubts about what lies 5 years ahead, what lies 10 years ahead. And the simpler ones will just say, I want to make a lot of money. Thank God for their honesty. I mean, others may not say so. They'll the reason I'm saying is unless we show them some tangible directions, not necessarily outcomes.
mm,
So
mm,
that is why I was saying question. Say by about now it's a very random. When I was in 12th, my teacher asked me out of this class who will be a Nobel Prize winner. Now I'm just giving those kind of things they might connect, and it has to be connected with as a Gen Alpha or as Gen Z at their level. And I don't have the answer as a 60-year-old, but maybe if that tangible from the list of founders that can come, maybe one of you will solve cancer, maybe one of you will, that's what we are expecting. That might probably be a greater draw and
mm,
challenge those bright minds. And Partha, you are coming from IIT and the whole HSS setup, the rationale for setup.
mm.
If that actually brings, I just feel from my side that will be a big draw to the children.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I had my hand raised. Hi, hi. Okay, so I think new universities come, they don't go easily because it's a huge investment, so they can't come and go, but they fizzle out. And we've seen, honestly, this is something that I've been very passionate about is the rise and fall of liberal arts universities in the last decade in India. And there are some very good examples of phenomenally well done liberal arts universities. And then there are some that a lot of lessons can be learned from. I think one big thing would be focusing on the actual experience of the student when they come to you, more than focusing your budgets on outreach and marketing and positioning yourselves a certain way and creating a brand. Because I've seen universities fall flat on their faces because they promise the moon and stars, like Johnson said. But when they actually come to campus, something as basic as the quality of food,
Yeah.
when they're paying 10 lakh rupees, I'm not saying have a five-star buffet, but you can't tell them don't have more than one boiled egg for breakfast.
Oh
And
yeah,
I've seen that
for
happen.
Absolutely.
sure, for
I have
sure,
seen,
for sure. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, that is outrageous. And
yeah,
when you're
yeah,
telling us, forget the 10 lakhs, you're
Yes.
telling a 16-year-old
Yeah.
that you're supposed to have the appetite for one boiled egg only in the morning. It's outrageous. So
yeah,
giving them, focusing your spends on when they come to you. That
Mm.
first cohort, even if you don't hit your target and you're 20 short, 50 short, whatever it may be, whatever number you get, make sure that they are the happiest kids in the world.
yeah,
And then your following cohorts are going to just flow. That word of mouth is irreplaceable.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's all I will say.
Thank
No, no,
you.
thank you for saying that, and that's something that that is very core to us. And as I mentioned, that it's student centricity is sort of at the heart of everything, right? Like we are very very clear. And as I was even when I was touching upon the campus and the hostel, I tried to mention that there's a dining hall in both places, there's a reading room in both places, and there's a pantry for them to even make their own coffee or whatever. There's facilities, but then if they want to do some of that themselves, and there's recreational areas in both of these places. So idea is that make them as comfortable, because
Mhm.
studying and focusing on the future and the networking and the peer group and really absorbing as much as they can is the idea in these 4 years. If you embroil them in all of this, like, oh, khana, this, that, my room, then they get so bogged down by the everyday that the focus
And
kind of goes away.
the fact is, you're dealing with kids who've lived at home for the
Yeah,
better, for all like their
yeah,
entire life. They've not made their beds.
yeah,
Forget, for anything else. Most
yeah,
of them
yeah,
don't have basic life skills.
yeah,
No
Yeah.
matter how great their schools are, they don't
yeah,
have basic life skills. And then you suddenly throwing them in the space where, they're supposed to take care of themselves, and that's
yeah,
tough. And I
yeah,
think I think we can be disdainful about the lack of life skills, but it's still our gap to fill,
Mm.
as a university. So I just feel like that's a
no,
yeah,
that's
that's it. But I have to log off because I have something. But Manas, please come on camera and yeah, please continue the conversation. I think I have to say this, Partha. Nobody has ever asked this question to the audience. Nobody. I mean, we've had so many sessions, and what a golden opportunity they've missed to do this market insight. So well done on that one.
yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
we truly mean it when we
Thank you.
say that we are a listening university. So we are truly open, and we think that co-creation and co-building is the way forward with the community. So
Mm.
thank you for setting this up,
Thank
Bhakti.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on. Hello, it was a wonderful session. I just wanted to add on with the Gen Z, the Gen Next. Now it's so
Mm.
much available on the internet. What we need to build with them and for them is lot of patience and persistence, doing consistent efforts day in and day out. So I think that's persistence and consistency is what they lack. So we need to develop on those and help them build that with day-to-day activities in their student experience.
Thank you so much for that.
Great. Do we have any other question? Or
Your voice is breaking, Manas.
let me just one is it better now?
No.
Okay.
The am I audible in a much better fashion now?
Slightly better. Yeah. Uh,
Your image is also frozen. Yeah.
yeah, so that's all right. So I mean, we are here if you have any more questions or if you have any more suggestions for us. Else we know that we are a little bit over time, and we are also happy to leave you for the rest of your evening, but happy also to stay on and
Yeah.
hear your thoughts or take any questions. Yes.
I think Mr.
Yeah.
Neeraj had a
Yes.
question. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Neeraj.
Hi, Neeraj aside. So, I've been a part of around 5 institutions in their first year,
Mhm.
universities and colleges. So, typically, I like the concept of a university starting with an very open mind, and I think the mix of programs which you have brought in, like that, seems really very exciting and interesting. So, I would not say advice. My just thought would be like, a lot of times students start looking at the world outside college in the third year or maybe in the fourth year.
Mm,
So I think if there can be an ecosystem where right from day one, because universities, colleges are just a pathway, they are just a passing phase. And I believe in the world of today, everybody understands that the academics cannot be the core focus. The experiences have to be. So I think if the more we kind of get them engaged with the real world from
mm,
the day one, right?
mm,
Maybe an induction not at your campus, an induction at some company.
mm,
Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
This is how what you're going
Mhm.
to work, what you're going to do.
Mhm.
I think the exposure to the real world comes pretty late
Mhm.
in very small chunks, and
mm,
in I would say like in phases which are forgotten very fast. So there is no continuity
mm,
of that. If you can build something around that with the kind of very interesting programs you have as a backdrop, not as something as the core. So I think that would make a lot of sense to the new world which is now emerging.
Mhm. Yeah. Just a very quick response. Thank you very much for that. So, we are also thinking about real world in a somewhat different way because in management and business, real world tends to be used in a very narrow sense. And we are saying real world means case studies, real world means practical experience, real world means understanding how work actually happens in different sectors. And therefore, Paritosh's point that they need an exposure to all sectors is very important here because people have a preconceived views of what is government, what is social sector, and so on. But we're also saying, and this has come from a lot of conversations with recent graduates who say that in a world where there is a lot of ambiguity and uncertainty from climate change or geopolitics, as we are seeing now, a sound theoretical knowledge is important to for them to think about the world, how it is changing, and then apply it to specific contexts. So the real world is also about understanding, gaining a very solid theoretical understanding, whether it's from biology or sociology or economics, but also having an exposure to how work actually happens in different sectors in different industries. So thank you very much for bringing it up, because that we need to think about it with an open mind, as Paritosh was saying earlier.
Thank you.
So thank you, Professor Partha, Sampurna, Paritosh, for taking out time. And for those who survived till the end, I think a lot of us had to drop out because it extended. But what I felt like, quite honestly, like I'm just giving you candid remarks because Bhakti just sent me a message right now. You have to deliver the word of thanks. This felt like a front row seat to grand launch. I mean, since you're going to be welcoming your very first cohort, and then we were the first ones to get a preview before anybody step foot on campus. When I say step foot on campus, not the staff, I'm talking about students who've enrolled full time and started spending time with you. This really seems like an insight like no other. And I remember this from 2019. I used to work for a US corporation. It was a testing organization, and I was leading their operations in India. My immediate reporting boss, who used to live in the US, used to say one thing that remember, it is the early days that are the hard times, but this is also the most fun of the times. So I'm
yeah.
only hoping that this translates even further for those students as well. And more than hope, I think I'm positive, given the conversations that we've had or given the thoughts that we've heard, that as Partha also I think mentioned, because it's going to be the inaugural cohort, you have expectations of students, but you also have the opportunity for students. It just is going to be very interesting to see how it develops. And given the fact that generally a lot of universities choose metropolitan cities, I'm not saying Pune isn't one, but it isn't in the first five that you would think of India. So it's just going to be a very interesting mix. But thank you so much for joining, sharing whatever you could about your institution with our members. I am very, very confident that a lot of them had a lot to learn and take back home and think. And here's wishing you the best for your first cohort and hopefully seeing you soon, very, very soon, on your interim campus before you abandon it for a permanent campus as well. And then at your permanent campus when you have one.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for the kind words. And, we've had a great time as well sharing about Nayanta and also, hearing your feedback. And we'll try to incorporate most of it. It's extremely valuable to us because you're the ones who are, the first.
Front
You're
lines.
interacting with students way more than we are from a much younger age. So thanks a lot for taking your time out. We truly appreciate it and value every bit of it that we've experienced today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Good
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good evening.
Good
Yeah.
evening.
Good evening. Have a good day.